Now, on 105.9 FM and streaming worldwide on the WMAL app. O'Connor and Company.
Well, good morning, one and all. Happy September, rabbit, everybody. This is O'Connor and Company on WMAL. News Talk 105.9, making sense of the news. It is 8:07 a.m. I am Andrew Langer in for Larry this week. Sitting today alongside Bethany Mandel. Hello, Bethany.
Good morning. I can't believe I made it past 8 a.m.
Yeah, you know something? You have now made it longer than you slept last night on the show today, and you deserve a prize. A brand new Chrysler Cordoba with the fine Corinthian leather is waiting for you, Bethany. So we will do.
But does it have the stop-start button? Or
no, thankfully, no more stop-start buttons, as we were talking about with Mark Morano earlier today on the show. Listen, we got to be joined in a couple of minutes by Maria Flores, former member of Congress from the great state of Texas. But joining us right now, perfect timing for this, Adam Guillette. He is the president of Accuracy in Media. And Adam, so it's back to school time. We're thinking, where the nonsense is gone, the DEI nonsense is gone. Maybe not so much so. What's going on? Have we finally gotten rid of DEI, or is it still a thing?
Gosh, I only wish we had.
Yeah.
You know, we investigate K through 12 school districts across the country, and we've done a lot now of hidden camera investigations into states where DEI is banned from higher ed. And what we find almost exclusively across the country is that these bans aren't worth the paper they're printed on because they're entirely ignored. They provide a false sense of security. Only Kansas actually has a law that's worth the darn. Only Kansas has a law with a reporting mechanism and with actual penalties for people who break the law. All of these other bans, sadly, are worthless, and these administrators are laughing at us.
So what's going on? I mean, it is amazing to me. We were talking earlier with Joe DeGeneva about the denial of reality, and part and parcel of the denial of reality, the alternative truths that the left has, is they want to intersperse themselves into the relationship between parents and their kids. Talk about this.
Well, that's exactly right. You know, there's a new thing called social and emotional learning, and it's bad and it's also worse. Because in and of itself, social and emotional learning basically allows your crummy local teachers who do a poor job of math and English to act as a psychiatrist on your child's well-being. And again, these are the people who are the reasons why your kids can't read, why they graduate with straight A's but are illiterate. Yet you want to trust them with psychiatry? But even worse, particularly in K through 12 education, it gets used as a Trojan horse for things like critical race theory. And what I mean is you'll see a math textbook, and down the middle there will be simple arithmetic. And on the right side, in the sidebar, it might have a social and emotional learning question where it says something like, how easy was it for you to solve this problem? How difficult was it for students around you? What factors could have caused that? And that then prompts the teacher to have a discussion about race in math class.
Mm-hmm. So I wrote a book about 2 years ago with Carol Markowitz called Stolen Youth, and we did a lot of coverage of SEL, and it is a real Trojan horse. And what they cloak it in is, well, we're just teaching kids how to be emotionally in touch with themselves and da-da-da. Meanwhile, the results are children who have more anxiety, more depression, like all of these catastrophic numbers that we're seeing from these experts who are teaching our children how to be in touch with their mental health. I want to switch gears a little bit to some recent stuff that you've done that is really, really shocking. In Reading, Ohio, is that how you say it? Reading?
Yeah, Reading.
That's it.
A counselor who was coaching parents to hide genders. Can you give our listeners a little bit of a Cliff Notes version of this video, because I found it absolutely shocking?
Well, we went to a number of school districts around Ohio, and we wanted to see if they were following the law prohibiting boys from girls' sports, prohibiting boys from girls' bathrooms. And what we found was district after district coached us on how we could easily circumvent the law using a number of different tactics. Last week we released Reading. Tomorrow, actually, we're releasing the second part. There are 4 more coming after this. And again, this is a red state. This isn't
Right.
Berkeley, California. This isn't Boulder, Colorado. This is a nice
Right.
suburb outside Cincinnati, Ohio. That's where they're doing this. Everyone wants to believe, well, my school district's the good one. I know education is a mess across the country, but I met the principal and administrator, and they seem all right. I meet those same people, but I do it with hidden cameras, and they brag to me about how they lie to you and break the law.
Yeah. That was a refrain I heard again and again from people who lived in red states. They said, I thought I could let my guard down, but I can't.
Right.
Because they're doing it in the red states too. And people are much less attuned to it because they think they're safe. You had a couple more videos from Alabama and Iowa. Again, not exactly blue
Alabama
states
and
here.
Iowa, yeah.
Like, what happened there?
Yeah, in both Alabama and Iowa, we released multiple hidden camera investigations showing them pushing DEI in defiance of state law. We're in rural Alabama at the University of West Alabama.
Right.
And the dean of students brags to us about how they just changed the titles. And University of North Alabama, same thing. And it's wild because we follow up with these departments like in Iowa and Alabama, and they change their department names in their job titles multiple times
Right.
in 1 year. We're joking that instead of printing business cards, they just pass out dry erase boards. It's just an endless game of whack-a-mole where they're changing titles and claiming this and that, and then bragging behind the legislators' backs that the law means nothing to them. Higher education needs to be fundamentally reshaped. In addition to actually having a DEI law with teeth, these administrators got to go. In the last 10 years, they created 20 times more administrators than faculty members. And these are largely just activists. These are your DEI jobs, your LGBTQ activist jobs, your feminist activist jobs. We've created a whole class of taxpayer-funded activists at these universities. We shouldn't be funding it. They got to go.
No, I mean, it gets to the point that I was going to make. You can have the reddest state out there, Adam. By the way, our guest is Adam Guillette. He's president of Accuracy in Media. The reddest state out there. But so long as you have the teachers' unions and these institutes of higher education training the teachers, it perversely infects them, doesn't it, Adam?
That's exactly right. And now with this new class of administrators, they're the bulk of the employment at the universities.
Right.
You know, we used to bemoan the left-wing faculty, and they're still bad, don't worry. But these administrators make up the bulk of the staff, and they're just activists. So even when you see these universities like Columbia where they try to cut a deal with the federal government, well, they couldn't if they wanted to, because they have a whole class of far-left anti-American Marxist activists who would, treat them as horribly as they treat me if the presidents of these universities actually tried to reform. These institutions are entirely rotten to their core. And if you're in a red state where this is happening, which is pretty much every public university,
Right.
they need new university presidents. They need to wipe out the administrative staff. And whatever trustees were charged with oversight for these universities, they got to go too, because they're either incompetent or they're in on it.
You go and check out their website. It's Accuracy in Media. Go and check out their Twitter handle. They're releasing new videos this week. Adam Guillette, thank you so very much for joining us today.
Thank you for your work.
Thank you so much for having me.